There's no cost to us, it's just a way to get services, better services to our citizens.
Had a guy stop out the other day and he's, some high-speed internet in the way. I understood they're putting it in right now. I told him I wasn't interested, I didn't talk to him anything on it.
Need a motion to send that out.
Mhm.
I'll make a motion to send a letter to CenturyLink.
Second the motion.
Move to second, send this letter to CenturyLink, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed.
If you could sign it and pass it back, Franklin, I'll get a copy so we have one for our records, and of course give the copy to Ann for the public. This is a memo. Michelle asked us to send this a couple months ago, maybe a month, 6 weeks ago now. And it hadn't been done, so I decided to just get it done. That's just 3 policy reminders from issues that have come up. The first one is specific to an issue from this morning.
You're just gonna send this to the department heads and elected officials.
And that will be from the commission, so I want your okay and any edits that you suggest.
Yes, mhm.
We can make a motion to sign this or.
We have to vote on the other motion that's still on the floor, and then yes, I would like a motion just so that there's a paper trail or a vote trail on the other.
Did you sign it,
Motion,
Franklin?
I'll sign here, I'm not happy with CenturyLink, the way they've been doing. Was there a motion to?
A motion and a second.
Yeah.
Both of them? What is the motion for?
The motion was to sign the CenturyLink letter.
Okay, there's been a motion made, second to sign the CenturyLink letter. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed.
This doesn't say you're happy with CenturyLink, Franklin, it says that we are proactively pursuing better internet for our citizens. Will you please sign the letter?
No, I'm not going.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Would you please let the record show that Franklin refused to sign a letter for better internet for our citizens?
Also add to it then, that I've been completely disappointed how CenturyLink has
That is
provided
inappropriate.
service. So that, if
is
that's gonna be in there, what you said, this
inappropriate.
other's gonna be in there too.
Don't you yell, that is
I can yell if I
inappropriate.
want.
No, you may
Mr.
not.
Chairman, I am going to put in that you refused to sign because all 3 of you voted for it. The other comment will not go into the minutes
Why not?
because you refuse to sign something that you voted for, and that's as far as it's going in the minutes.
We cannot use these meetings to denigrate businesses or individuals. That is not the purpose of a Broadwater County Commission meeting. It is inappropriate. So this is the last one that we need to take care of. This was brought up in, this morning. It is not protected by the Constitution, as the rights of privacy do not apply here. Here is the resolution that we sign every year. But we have a claim that is inappropriate and it needs to be addressed. So that would also be from the commission. And certainly there is a remedy for getting that reimbursed, but we need to do it correctly.
Make a motion to sign the letter for credit card use meals to Val Hornsville.
Has she been contacted on this?
No, that's what we're doing, the letter. No, and I'll second the motion.
Well, I don't know, I don't care, just, I wonder if she shouldn't have been contacted ahead of time so they know what's, talk to them.
We already talked about this morning, Franklin. I don't think we should rehash it. I certainly don't wanna do that on camera. She has been, as we discussed this morning. This is old news, at least for the commission.
Is this covering both of them, or, at least it does. This stuff is all stuff, this is some good stuff.
Franklin, I gave that to you earlier. What that is, it's in the memo, and it says these things are attached. That's the hiring process that goes with the memo. The other one is the memo that you just voted to approve. The other thing is the claim that we talked about this morning, and for your information, the per diem rates and the resolution setting those that you voted on in January. This is all stuff we've been talking about for weeks. We talked about it again this morning. It's been part of our discussions with Michelle.
Is that what your motion, what's your motion on again?
There was a motion, Mike made a motion to sign the credit card letter, seconded by Laura.
Okay, it's moved to second to sign the credit card letter. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Signed the wrong way, doesn't matter, I guess.
It does matter, because it looks really unprofessional. I would like that other information back. For one, I need to return it to the claims department, but I also need to attach it to the information that says it will be attached. So if you could please send
So
it
we don't have
back.
to sign that one again then?
There also was a memo regarding 3 policy reminders that was brought up. There was no motion made on it.
I'll move that we send the memo as presented.
I'll second.
So this hiring procedure checklist? At least it's a hiring policy. So we letter and hiring procedure checklist, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed.
No. The motion was to send the memo, and I'd like it to be reflected, not the hiring checklist. That was approved over a year ago. It's just the memo, Franklin.
Okay, we'll refer back to just the memo then. Well, okay, you restate your motion then, you're shaking your head over there, I don't hear this part, here it goes.
I already made a motion to send the memo as presented. Mike already seconded it. Can we please have a vote on the motion?
Which
Chairman.
memo are you talking about now?
The same one that I just passed out 15 minutes ago. Unbelievable.
Oh, okay. Well, hell, you bring all this stuff up at the last minute, you never know what's taking place.
You know what, I communicate with you guys by email and I never get a response. I do from Mike occasionally. And Franklin, I don't think you read a single email that you get.
I do, I read every one.
No, I don't believe you.
I sure the hell won't answer you, because every time I do, you twist everything around, you done that years ago, and I.
Franklin, you're
refuse to
being
ever send it out.
ridiculous. So the last thing to talk about is the adjusting journal entries. Those were lost by the chairman last week. In our mailbox, those adjusting journal entries were in with the September entries. I went through and I pulled them out and I clipped them individually. So there's now August in there clipped.
I'll straighten that out. I clipped
There's-
those individually.
No, you didn't.
Before that, and I went through those 3 times, I couldn't believe that they weren't in there, and I went through it, and went through it, and went through it. I saw it then later, the next day, oh yeah, it's separate there.
So I went through and I clipped August, September, and October, and they're all individually done.
That's what I
But we
did.
need a process so that it is known that we are reviewing those. There was a fraud training a couple years ago, Mike, and 2 things came up. One is the reason that we do many of these things that we do is not because we are going to adjust the journal entries, as has been in our agenda. We don't do that. The reason that we approve them and review them is so that it's a deterrent against somebody who might be tempted to cheat. Any employee who knows that the boss is looking is prevented generally from doing something they shouldn't. Good people get desperate. You can hire bad people by accident. Regardless of what it is, if they know somebody is looking, they are less willing to cheat. The same philosophy goes to our timesheets, which we haven't signed for any department heads this year. We don't sign timesheets because we are watching every motion of our department heads. We sign their timesheets because that way they know we're at least looking at it. That means that a department head is a little less likely to cheat on their timesheet. It's fraud prevention. That's what's behind the journal entries. We used to have a process where those were taken from the mail and put in a place for each commissioner to review. Prior to the meeting, any commissioner with a question would go to usually Doug or Debbie. What does this mean? Can you explain this to me? And would come back to this meeting fully informed, having reviewed everything. Those adjusting journal entries are staying in our mailbox. There's mail getting caught in them. They're not being divided out. They're not even being brought to a commission meeting. I don't know that they're getting signed and dated like they're supposed to be. I am uncomfortable with something as important as the finances of this county not having correct supervision. So I want to request that we have a policy, and I want it on the agenda next week, that we have a policy decided by the 3 of us to ensure that the 3 of us, not just one of us, is properly reviewing those very important documents. So that's my request. All right, I'm gonna put that on the agenda, and I would hope that the three of us will come with some ideas and solutions for this. And that's all I have.
Anything, Mike?
No.
Meeting adjourned at 1:15.